Are you ready to get consistent in showing up for yourself? Are you ready to say yes to life? Well, you're here with Why Follow the Herd, and I'm your host, Debbie Clement-Large, and I am looking forward to sharing this conversation with a wonderful Laura Topper. You won't want to miss this. Consistency, Laura, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be hearing about what you think about consistency for showing up for yourself. Where do we start with this topic?
Oh, such a great topic. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this conscious conversation. I love it. And I love all the work that you're doing, Debbie. So it's that thing, isn't it, of keeping going with the steps that we are invited to take, even when it may look like we're wading through mud. And so many times in my life, I've relinquished to not having that faith in myself that my vision is there, and these are the steps that I'm really being invited to take in a big and bold way. And yet I'm scared, or feel like I want to hide, or that thing of getting back under the duvet, or maybe not feeling like anybody's listening. Why should I even bother? Who's out there looking at my videos? And I realized that, when I have that thought process and I give up, it becomes a habit. The giving up can become a habit. And it takes training of mind and heart to kind of keep going, and know that even if I don't think it's working, there is something happening, because that's the nature of life itself, to shift and change and expand in relation to what I'm thinking and feeling. So being consistent is a pattern that we're being called right now, I believe, even more with the teachings that we're sharing in this life, and what it is that's in our hearts, that we know we want to help people and guide people and assist people. So being a role model of that is not always easy. Yeah.
I hear you. And actually, you've just said so much of what I have felt in the last 12 months on and off. Not just only in your personal life, but actually in business and how you show up, how I grow my business. I hear you, girl. Because and I know I'm not alone, because people that I speak to are kind of feeling that too. It's that it would be easier to give up. Giving up would be easier than this.
And yet, there's this thing of, my spiritual teacher and guide said to me often, who said it's meant to be comfortable, Laura?
Yeah.
Who said it's meant to be comfortable? It is about breaking through that seeming barrier, if you like, or the veil, and actually journeying through that corridor of discomfort. And I believe that's the part of it that is it's like our learning ground. If we can keep showing up when it feels difficult and uncomfortable, then we're proving to ourselves that that we're made of this. And if we're handed this to do, then there will be challenges along the way. And those challenges are going to be our gifts to show us who we truly are, the resilience that we have, and the resourcefulness that we have when we think everything is falling apart.
Yeah.
I think
love that attitude. Go on. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I was just really feeling about, last year and what we've all been through and what we've all journeyed through, and how it would have been so easy for you, for me, for many of us to say, right, COVID is here, and I'm just gonna completely give up and do, not do anything, or just do something that isn't this challenging or difficult, seemingly. But I think we were given this experience so that we can see and look within ourselves to prove to ourselves, yeah, this is what I really want to do, however challenging it's going to be, and I'm going to stay with it. And I see now, by being consistent for myself and with my business and with my personal life and things that I'm doing, that it is the momentum of that it will shift, the pendulum does swing both ways, and we get to feel that by showing up.
And that's really interesting, because I think COVID has been a gift in some ways, that it's helped us to see where we are, where we're stuck. But also I think we can be inconsistent irrespective of whether COVID's here or not. I think, I mean, even just you were talking about the business and showing up and doing videos and things like that, and you can feel, is anybody watching, or is this making a difference? I'm wanting to be of service, but actually is there so much noise out there that nobody knows I'm here, and I'm putting so much effort into doing this, showing up, helping and supporting other people, and is that trade-off worth it? And it can be easy to think, this is becoming so, it's not that it's so hard, but it's just so time consuming. I'm putting so much energy into something that maybe a handful of people, maybe even one person, maybe nobody's seeing it. And do I carry on with it, or do I let it go? And it's the same with that, with our life as well. You know, do I keep giving myself the meditation time? Do I keep giving myself the time for journaling? Do I keep giving myself time for, whatever other practice we have? And I think you're right. It's seeing it as a gift, not seeing it as what's the point, but seeing it as the gift that's there, whatever that gift looks like.
Yes. And all I know for myself, because I think what I've done is treated this whole thing of consistency as an experiment without realizing that I am actually being the researcher. And what I have found through this experiment of showing up randomly or showing up consistently is that when I show up consistently, I feel good about what I'm doing. I feel like I'm following my heart. And it's, your whole business is called Why Follow the Herd. And I think that is so perfect for this actually conversation. It's like, well, if it's a heart-led, then why does it even matter if anybody or one person or three people are watching? Because I'm doing this for me. And I know that when I show up and I talk and I speak and I'm on YouTube or Facebook, where, like you just said, so many, it's like, how do we stand out? Well, I got to the point where I kind of was saying to myself, actually, I don't want to stand out. I want to just be here in a lovely kind of gentle repose, and it will be those that kind of resonate. It will happen, because that's the nature of life. We will always draw to us what is in our consciousness, our level of awareness. So if we're going into this with that fear, then we will repel. And if we're going into this with that love and openness, then we will draw to us exactly where we are at that time. Yeah.
I love that. And I completely agree, because like you, it's sometimes you just get that fleeting thing of, oh, what's the point? But then, like you say, it's actually, I'm doing this because I love to do it. I'm doing it because it feels the right thing to do. And whether, like you say, one person, 3 people, 100 people show up, 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. Because even if something small that you say has a positive impact on somebody else's life and creates positive change, and you're spreading out this ripple, then actually that time, that effort is worth it.
Absolutely. I mean, and let's think about this, the people that we really love, that we follow, that we look at on YouTube or we look at on social media, and we listen to their videos. We listen to them not because every video is different, or because we're going to really get a golden nugget in every single thing that, they put out there. We listen because we love their energy, their intention, what they stand for, their values. And then what they're saying is just like a natural extension of that. And so it could be any video that is, that has that consciousness instilled in it, that ripple will go out. So I think you're so right that whoever we listen to, we want to catch what that person is thinking and feeling and what they stand for. And so I think that our values are really important as teachers and guides and leaders. When we get our values in place, then that just emanates from us, and people feel that. So I say just keep going with it, putting so much love into it. And love the process. I've actually been treating my showing up consistently on YouTube as a journaling process for me, rather than writing it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna speak it out here now.
Yeah, I love that. That's really personable. And actually, when we think about consistently showing up, we've talked about the videos and showing up for, just in what we're doing and sharing. But when in our personal journey, it's just as important to just consistently show up for ourselves. And, if we're talking about imaging, if we're talking about language, using that ourselves. And I found recently I had a real sticky point with one thing, and I couldn't even get it into my mind to imagine it, to visualize it, to feel it, to know it. It was almost like the door was shut. And the one thing that got past was became really consciously aware that I had this sort of blackout bit, and I just couldn't do any practice that seemed to be, it wasn't as though the practice wasn't available. It was just, I couldn't even bring myself to do it. There was such a huge resistance to it.
Right.
And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to be willing. I'm going to be consistently willing to think about it. I'm not going to beat myself up because I can't even imagine it and see it and feel it in my mind. It's a bit like when they say having the end in mind, but I couldn't even have it.
Right.
And I thought, I'm just going to be willing, consistently willing. And then, do you know what, a little bit at a time, it was almost like that door started to open and I could see a little bit. And then things started, just little bits of shifts, and it was amazing. But it's just consistently, for me, of just being patient and loving with myself and being willing to explore, but not trying to push it and not giving up on myself. What about you? What would you say about consistency in yourself for showing up, and how we all practice that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, beyond my business, and, which really I don't even see as my business. It's kind of my love, my passion, which is spirituality and metaphysics. For me personally, I'm learning that, I'm like a high creative. That's me. I'm very kind of, if it's creative, I'm there. And when it comes to kind of narrowing in and being semi-organized and planned, I'm like, give it to someone else to do, give that to someone else to do. And I'm learning that consistency of loving myself and creating a structure for my week is actually creative as well, because I can put my creativity into that and have fun with that. And I think that it's really important what you've just said, because often we have these sticking points within us where we feel that we're blocked with, whether it's a spiritual practice or whether it's not eating the right foods or exercising, because I've definitely the tummy.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. So I've put myself on an exercise routine, a power walking routine, and it really has been amazing for the last month. And I drag myself out of bed in the morning because it would be so much easier to lie there. But I'm dragging myself up, and the second I get up, it's like, okay, do my meditation, my practice, and then I'm off walking. And if I miss a day, I think you're so right. It's that not beating ourselves up, but being willing to love ourselves and know that we're in a process here. We're in a process of getting closer to fulfilling our dreams and our passions, and they're not going to just suddenly all plonk down here in front of us. We need to put the work in to be able to, for life to see that we are participating, so that then we get these beautiful you know, signs and opportunities and possibilities, conversations. Look how we've met, you know, from being willing to be consistently open to receiving. And I think that's a big thing for women, particularly, you know, that we're not necessarily good receivers, and we can work on that for ourselves and get stronger in that area.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that is wonderful. If you could say, just share one really top tip on being consistently showing up for yourself, what would you say? What would be?
Yeah, I would say no one's going to do it for us. No one's going to do it for you. This is personal responsibility. We can't, you know, I'm 57, and for maybe 50 odd years, I was leaning on my parents in my mind, not in the physical reality, but in my mind, there was always this kind of, oh, well, someone will always pick up the pieces. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. However, that it's my responsibility to grow up, take charge, know what my dreams, my visions are, and to go for it. And I say this to you as well, you know, to anyone that's listening, not to you, Debbie, but to anybody that's listening. How I feel is that you know what you're here to do. You know what is in your heart and what is seeded as a desire. And so there will be steps to take, and each of those steps will be an expansion of your awareness, of your consciousness, to be able to handle it. And so showing up for that is a part of the adventure. And so go for it. Slowly, surely, take those steps and love yourself along the way, and be your own best friend throughout all of it.
Yeah, I love that. Baby steps all the way, and lovingly self-soothe and support yourself.
Yeah, so important.
That is such a gift. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you for sharing about consistency, just not only with your business, but with life, how we can all step into that. Because, you know, I know sometimes I can be consistent, and other times consistency feels hard, and other times just consistency just goes by the wayside. And it's like you say, being gentle, taking those baby steps, and learning to love yourself. Thank you so much, Laura. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Debbie, for inviting me here. It's been a joy to be with you. I love it. I love connecting with you.
Me too. I could talk to you all day.
All day.
And thank you too for showing up. I hope you take something away, that consistency is a loving way that we can support ourselves, but we can be consistently loving, consistently taking those baby steps, but consistently releasing any need to beat ourselves up if we don't quite get it right.
Oh, yeah.
You are wonderful just as you are. So have the most amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.